S. Korea says N. Korea has fired 2 more projectiles into sea. Seoul, South Korea. South Korea's military says North Korea fired 2 projectiles into the sea Friday to extend a recent streak of weapons tests believed to be aimed at pressuring Washington and Seoul over slow nuclear diplomacy. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said the projectiles launched from the northeastern coast flew about 230 kilometers, 143 miles, on an apogee of 30 kilometers, 18 miles, before landing in waters between the Korean Peninsula and Japan. The Joint Chiefs of Staff said the U.S. and South Korean militaries were analyzing the launches but didn't immediately say whether the weapons were ballistic missiles or rocket artillery. It was North Korea's 6th round of weapons launches since late July when it began stepping up its weapons demonstrations while expressing frustration over stalemated nuclear negotiations with the United States and continuing the U.S.-South Korea joint military drills at the North Sea as an invasion rehearsal. South Korea's presidential office says National Security Advisor Chung Eui-yong was presiding over an emergency National Security Council meeting about the launches, and President Moon Jae-in was being briefed on the development. The Blue House called for the North to stop launches that risk raising military tensions on the peninsula. Japan's defense ministry says the North Korean projectiles did not reach the country's territorial waters or its exclusive economic zone. The White House said it was aware of reports of the launches and was consulting with Seoul and Tokyo. The weapons the North tested in recent weeks included a new rocket artillery system and what security analysts say are 2 new short-range mobile ballistic missile systems that would eventually expand the North's ability to strike targets throughout South Korea, including U.S. bases there. Experts say President Donald Trump's downplaying of the North's launches allowed the country more room to intensify its testing activity while it seeks to build leverage ahead of the possible resumption of negotiations, which could happen sometime after the end of the Allied drills later this month. The North has ignored South Korean calls for dialogue recently and is seen as dialing up pressure on Seoul to coax major concessions from Washington on its behalf. The Joint Chiefs of Staff alerted reporters to the launches hours after the North issued a statement berating South Korea, saying it's senseless for Seoul to host for a resumption of inter-Korean dialogue while it continues its military exercises with the United States. The statement by the North's Committee for the Peaceful Reunification of the country came a day after Moon said in a speech that the momentum for dialogue remains alive despite a series of worrying actions taken by North Korea recently. A sure thing is that the South Korean chief executive is such a funny man as he just reads what was written by his juniors, the statement said while avoiding calling Moon by his name. It would be senseless for Moon to believe that inter-Korean dialogue will automatically begin after the end of U.S.-South Korea military drills, the statement said. The North has recently said it plans to talk only with Washington and not Seoul, and that inter-Korean dialogue won't resume unless South offers a plausible excuse on why it keeps hosting military drills with the United States. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.